Hey, everybody. Today, we've got a surprise for all of you. In fact, we're going to have the tables turn here today. I am going to be interviewing our host, Anne.
Yes.
She has made a bold decision.
Yes.
And so I'm going to reveal it after this, but Anne, I'm going to get to interview you today. How do you feel about that?
I know. I feel uneasy about it. I'm not used to being on this side of the table. As you said, we're flipping him around, and I may fall back into old patterns here and probably start asking you some questions, but it's
Okay.
different. It's different not having control and being the one conducting the interview. So we'll have fun, though. I think this is going to be a fun chat just about what's been going on and what is exciting to come.
All right, here we go, everybody. Hey everyone, I'm Maggie, MD, functional and holistic physician and the creator of the Transform program and the Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally Facebook group. I think, oh my goodness, are we at 68,000? I think we're almost crawling to 70,000 members in our Facebook group community, which is mind-boggling. Today, we're going to flip the script. Anne informed me that she is ready herself to commit to joining the Transform program. And so we really thought that it'd be really great for her to actually share her journey. I mean, and this is to share her journey with the Facebook group and on social media to give you all a behind the scenes of what it is like for someone to actually go through our program from the very beginning to the very end of the Transform Fundamentals program. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And those of you who are watching in the Facebook group or on socials right now, if you could comment in the comment section, tell us what autoimmune issues you're dealing with, or maybe you don't even have a diagnosis. What symptoms do you have? Just put a comment in the comment below. If you have any questions about the program as someone who is just learning about it for the first time, or maybe you've been stalking it for a year, type it in the comment section. Love to see that because these are all the very same questions that Anne went through. So Anne, let's get started. I'd love for you to introduce Anne the person to our audience, not just the host of Autoimmune Table Talk, but Anne the woman.
I know you guys have seen us on here every Thursday doing Autoimmune Table Talk Live, but I'm Imanuel, and I have been struggling with autoimmune issues for several years myself. It was mystery symptoms, like you mentioned at first.
Mhm.
And then I finally, through kind of a frustrating process, did get somewhat of a diagnosis of undifferentiated connective tissue disease.
Yeah.
So a lot of symptoms went along with that. But before I get into that, maybe you want to have something about me, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I've got a crazy 3-year-old son who keeps me on my toes and requires a lot of energy. I just, what do I love? I'm from the state of Florida. We love to watch Gator football. Don't live in Florida anymore, but I do TV news. I do TV newscasts for local stations all over the country. So have a lot of fun.
I love it. And how did you end up? I mean, let's tell the people how we met. How did we start to connect? How did you find me?
Right. So after I was diagnosed with the autoimmune issues, I started working with a functional medicine doctor, and that was helpful to a point. And she finally said to me, "You have been telling me since day one that something's been up with your hormones, and your hormones are a problem with your autoimmunity. I'm not a hormone expert. You have to find someone who is. You have to find somebody who not only understands hormones, but understands that very important link between it and autoimmunity." And that was hard to find.
We literally had a Facebook post today or yesterday where someone's saying like, I have all these hormone problems and now I don't know who I should see. Should I see an OBGYN or an endocrinologist? They think that's going to be the answer. And, you yourself said that you were told by your functional medicine doctor that they're not a hormone expert.
Yes.
Well, then what did that leave you with?
It didn't leave me many options. And somebody she referred me to was one of those doctors that prescribes, medications and things like that. And I just knew this is not the answer. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to understand what's the link here and how do we correct some things that are going on in me. And I was not able to find that until somebody in one of my autoimmune Facebook groups posted a link to you and your group. And I said, okay, maybe this is the answer. So I started looking at you on Facebook. I've probably been on your Facebook group for the last 2 years or so.
Really?
It was a long time.
You were a 2-year stalker, first time caller?
Yes. I know. Some of us take longer than others. I'm always impressed by the alumni that we interview who say, I found you and I called immediately and I joined the program that day. And I'm like,
Right.
you are so smart because it took me a really long time, to really get comfortable. And then I finally ended up reaching out to you about something else unrelated. And we kind of connected and hit it off. And we've been working together for like the last 6 months now. And as I've learned more and more about the program and talked to the alumni, I mean, I have a front seat here to get to really see the dramatic life transformation for the people who go through your program. And it's inspiring to me.
Mhm.
And as I did more and more of these interviews and I was engaged more with what's going on with the Transform program, I approached you and I said, Dr. Maggie, I would like to do this. What do you think about me doing this? And you had the great idea to kind of say, you know what? Yeah, it would be beneficial for you. And with kind of your skill set, we could show, behind the scenes. Let's open the curtain up and show everybody else what really happens in this program. Because I know for 2 years, I had questions. I wanted to know, well, what is this program really about? And I would have loved to have gotten a chance to kind of see somebody going through it and see what they experienced.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I always wish that there was somebody who was willing to actually have a literally blow by blow video blog of them going through the program, because we see those comments all the time. Like in the program, people will be in our private group and their private chats talking about, oh my gosh, this is my first reaction of my first mastermind. Oh, this was what it was like, the orientation. This is what it was like to receive my melt kit for the first time. Like they talk about it all the time. I'm like, I wish sometimes people in the front would actually really see what that experience is. And it is 2 months. Like the whole program is a 2-month process. And we tend to interview people at the end of that 2-month period, or sometimes even a year or two later.
Mhm.
So a lot of these little logistical things that happen blow by blow get kind of lost. And
Yeah, you forget them.
Right. And so for me, it was like, why don't we at some point have an opportunity to have someone that goes through our program really do a very real, very raw video blog as they go through our program. So literally they'll be following your journey.
I know. I'm excited about it. I need to get.
I don't know if you are. Are you excited about it?
I'm apprehensive meets excited meets motivated to really do my best with this and give it my all. Like you said, it's a 2-month plus program. And so you have to be able to carve out this time commitment in your life to really focus on you and your health.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to commit to that, then that's the route to take. I think personally, I have a lot of mindset work to do, and I didn't even necessarily realize that before starting working with you. So part of that mindset work too is just becoming a little bit more vulnerable and raw and transparent, because on TV news, I'm so used to a persona to a certain degree, right?
Yeah.
It is everything's kind of scripted and perfect, and I need to just break down the walls a little bit, and hopefully I can be real with this.
Thank you for being honest about that. Because for me, one of the things, I started being on social media about 6 years ago. And literally it was a friend that challenged me to 30 days of Facebook Live.
Mhm.
And it was scary. It was so scary. And I just going back, and those videos are on YouTube, but going back, if you could see me in my clinic doing 30 days of Facebook Live, I was like rattling super fast. I was nervous. I was like, had this whole agenda planned. It was like I had a Venn diagram. I mean, it was like, let me give you a dissertation on ABC. It was this feeling like I have to present a persona and the whole thing every time I go live. And one of the things over the last 6 years that I've really learned more and more was just to be the real me, like literally every single time. And I think that was tough, but it was like at about the 1 or 2 year mark being on social media, I just made the decision. Because one of the things I noticed was when you look at people that are online, a lot of times what they're doing, I call it bro marketing, which is like, I'm the best. I'm so good. I'm the authority on absolutely everything. And it's like, they're broadcasting I call it bro marketing.
I like the term.
Well, it was all the bros. When you actually learn about how to reach an online audience, a lot of the people that are teaching people how to do this are bros. So I was always call it bro marketing. And I realized it didn't work for me. It wasn't authentic. It wasn't real.
Yes.
And I was like, I started to about it like a year and a half into my being on social media, be like, I'm just going to start being me. And that's why, you guys know, I'm a fan of the cursey words.
Yeah. Just you. But I think that people then recognize the authenticity and connect with you. You know, people want to see real, they want to see vulnerable, they want to see somebody that they actually can relate to.
That's
And
what I learned, and I mean, this is the honest truth, was that the more real that I was, and I have shared so much on social media about the things that have happened to me that brought me on this journey, that brought me here, right? There's some really big heartbreaks, a lot of trauma, a lot of mistakes, and a lot of things that are damaged on me that doesn't need to be, because I didn't address those early in my own autoimmunity, you know? So I felt like the more raw and honest I became, the more I was getting messages where people were like, what you said there really resonated with me. You know,
Mhm.
when you say, somebody says, oh, I just found her yesterday and today I enrolled in the program.
Yeah.
We didn't used to have that, but now we have that all the time, because honestly, it's a sense that people are like, I know you, like, I know you. There's something you're saying that I connect to, right?
Mhm.
So that's why for me, when you reached out to me and we talked for the first time, I honestly felt, I love the fact that you have a broadcast journalist background, right?
Yeah.
But I think that your heart, it's really here. Like, it's from a place of your own suffering and your own experience. That's, you wanted to host this,
I know, I did, because this is, I was looking for something that was meaningful in my life as well,
right?
because autoimmune disease, once it came into my world, kind of encompassed my whole world. And I was researching and I wanted to learn everything I could about it. And it became, I don't want to call it a passion because that's not the right word, but something that I cared very deeply about. And I thought, wow, maybe I
Mission.
should
I
call
think mission.
a mission. That's a good term for it,
Yeah,
because while you're trying to help yourself, and you went through this too, you're trying to
yeah.
help yourself, but in turn, along the way, maybe you can lift others up and help others as well. And so that I thought was
It's
really
not a maybe, that's really the only way I think we really help other people. I really do. It's from our place of greatest suffering is our place of greatest growth, and it's also our place of greatest inspiration for others.
that's profound to really sit back and take a look at that and think about it. And anybody watching, if you're thinking about your own life and your own struggles, how have you been able to twist
Yeah.
that around, and then reach out and make a difference in somebody else's life because of it?
So let's talk through, like, when I always, after one of the Autoimmune Table Talk lives, you're always like, Maggie, that just blew my mind. Like, I had this, I had that. Like, so let's talk about your autoimmune journey, which is now, when you look back after you've hosted all these interviews, you've learned so much in the last, 8, 9 months of working with me on hosting this. What patterns have you seen in your own medical history that made you really realize this is some major autoimmune stuff that are all connected?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because every time we seem to do a show,
Every
I
time.
connect more dots, and I'm like, I've had that happen to me too. It's funny with autoimmunity. Sometimes you do collect so many different symptoms, and of course they can come and go. That's just the nature of autoimmunity. But yes, it's been a long journey, and I can date this back to, I mean, probably when I first started cycling, and I had an irregular cycle as a young girl. I was like 11 years old when I first
Yeah,
got my period.
that far back. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and it was irregular, and they say, oh, that's normal, and it was just never regular. And I look back now
Mm.
after we do all these talks with hormones, and I'm realizing, well, that's not normal.
No.
And then I dealt with just soul crushing infertility. And I almost want to cry every time I talk about infertility, because anybody who's been there, I'm having an emotional week this week. I told you. Um, Anybody who's been through infertility, though, you want something so bad, and you can't have it. It hurts, right? It
Yeah.
hurts me so bad. So I dealt with infertility for years. Sorry, I didn't think I was going to cry.
No, this is, thank you, because there's so many women out there, men, like, that are really struggling with infertility, and they don't realize it's like 99% of these people are struggling with autoimmunity.
Right. And I never knew that. And, I wish that I would have had a more intensive workup or something at the time, because I even went through in vitro fertilization, and it was not successful. I mean, we went through several years of that. I do have a little boy, though, as I mentioned, though. So there's a happy ending there. But, I wish I would have connected the dots earlier. So if anybody is watching this and is struggling with infertility and can maybe get a
Mhm.
better workup and an understanding that this probably could have an autoimmune connection, good. I hope that touches at least one person, because you would be much farther ahead of the game than where I had to be at the time. So So yeah, I realized infertility played a role into the autoimmunity. And after the birth of my son was when health really took a nosedive. I mean, I started feeling a lot of mystery, strange symptoms. I mean, widespread joint pain to the point. Yes. Oh, my wrists never. I didn't like. I can't put my weight on them still. You know, even when they're feeling good.
Yeah.
The joint pain, though, you know, could be really debilitating at times. Fatigue. I felt like I had a fever every day of my life, and I was just so exhausted. Where I would dread having to, like, I would bring my child home from being out at something, and I would just want to sit in the car because I knew I didn't have enough energy to get him out of the car seat and to come inside and to just take care of life. That's how exhausted it felt. And I knew that wasn't normal. I knew that wasn't just new mom, you know, exhaustion.
Yeah. I was told that was new mom exhaustion.
Yeah, me too.
I was told to get on Prozac. I did get on Prozac for like 3 years.
Wow. I mean, it's so frustrating too, to not have the proper support from the medical field, because they're just uninformed about autoimmunity and what's normal and what's not. And even if they are informed about it, they don't know how to help, you know?
Can I tell you something you already did that you don't even know about?
What?
So, you know, sometimes when we go live, you will share a little bit of your story, and you have mentioned fertility before.
Mm.
And one of the viewers heard about that and was like, I didn't even make that connection. And she's in our program right now. You'll meet her. She's on Wednesdays, but she joined the program. She joined the program about a month ago with her husband. And both of them are like on every call. And yesterday, by the way, and yesterday we just reviewed her hormone results. And I was just talking about how, like, I am a pregnancy whisperer.
I know.
When I was in the clinic, like, that was my, like, known in the area. It's like people will go to, like, quote unquote reproductive endocrinologist to do the Clomid, the IVF, all this stuff. But if they really just want to get pregnant and fix the underlying problems, they come to me. I'm the pregnancy whisperer because I'm an I'm an autoimmune expert, and 99% of infertility is autoimmune related. So when we reviewed her thyroid a couple of weeks ago in other labs, but then we connected the hormone piece this yesterday morning, and it is going to absolutely completely change her life and her husband's life.
So they're still trying to start a family at this time.
They were right before the program. They had invested in some IVF and egg collection and all that. But the thing was, I was like, the fact is, if you never actually deal with the underlying autoimmune issue, you could spend a ton of money collecting the eggs and cycling and all this stuff, pumped full of hormones. But that doesn't mean the autoimmune attack is still going. No one has even diagnosed or ever done a workup of autoimmunity through all these rounds and years of this. And I pretty much said, hey, for that implantation to even be successful in the first place, you need to stop the autoimmune attack.
It's so true.
Right?
I'm so happy that she caught wind of your program. If it was because I talked about infertility, I can't tell you.
It is, man. I mean, it's women like you, warriors like you, that have the courage to actually share the pain and of our own suffering, that you're already inspiring other people. Like, we haven't interviewed that many people with infertility, and the moment that you had started talking about it on there, we started getting an influx of people coming in, really, like, help me. And I was telling R and L, her partner, yesterday, I said, this is going to completely change the trajectory, because I know you already collected the eggs, but we're going to precisely get your autoimmune attack like completely calmed down, so we know exactly when is going to be the optimal time for the implantation to happen. Number two is you're going to completely decrease the risk of any miscarriages, right? It could implant, but is it going to miscarry? Totally. The other thing is, what about a healthy environment for this newborn baby? So it doesn't, autoimmune moms can have a higher risk with
everything from like preeclampsia.
Yeah, all that. I don't know what's going on with sound. It's a little bit odd. But anyway, so I was telling them that for the first time, they're going to know what's really causing this, and they're going to have the best chances of getting pregnant, not having miscarriage, healthy baby pregnancy, healthy mom during this, healthy delivery. It brought me chills.
I know. I cannot wait now that you say this. I cannot wait until you do get that baby announcement from them.
I will.
And we can
We've had a lot of baby announcements, just so you know.
Well, I know you know the gift of giving somebody health, but also give the gift of giving somebody the ability to start a family is just so priceless.
You
If
know?
I had somebody, if I had met you way back when I was going through my journey, and it would have been that much easier. I cannot tell you the stress that would have taken off me, and honestly, so much of that stress potentially also contributed to fueling the fire in my autoimmunity. I'm sure,
Because
when you're
there's
that
every
stressed out.
trauma. Every month you're not pregnant is trauma.
It's totally traumatic. And then my husband and I have an additional stressful situation where we're both genetic carriers for the same genetic disease, which we only found out during that whole process too. So we spent the entire pregnancy not knowing if my son would have cystic fibrosis. If you can imagine
Wow.
how stressful that would have been too. So just all those stressful kinds of things, they add up, and it takes a toll on you, and it takes a toll on your body. And I'm convinced that it all contributed to the formation of my autoimmunity flaring up.
You know what I love? One of the things I talk about this in the program, man, and you'll probably end up blogging about it. But there's something I say that I tell people in the beginning of the program. I go, when you start this program, you start from a place of absolute uncertainty, right? So when you have absolute uncertainty, borrow it from me. Borrow it from me.
You-
And as you go through our program, we also have a motto, which is you're going to see one, do one, teach one. As you go through the program, you're going to see one, do one, teach one through multiple patterns and concepts. You're going to gain more and more and more in your level of certainty to the point where you are a master. That's why I call it autoimmune mastery. At that point, you're going to have your own certainty. You don't need to borrow it from me anymore.
It's
And
so true. Yeah,
that's
you said that. You said that during our first meeting with our mastermind group.
yeah.
You said borrow my certainty, and I thought, boy, I need to. I still am at that point where I need to. But then, as I watched the mastermind call go on, I saw people toward the end of the program, and they had their own certainty. So you're absolutely right. You could absolutely tell
Yeah, no.
who was toward the end of their journey and who had really
Yeah.
gotten their wings and was
Well,
flying.
and you even see in my teaching style, like when someone says something, they'll say a statement, but they'll make it a little lift, like it is vitamin D, like
Yeah,
like making it a question. And you know, my response, my typical response is that a question? Is that a statement? And I do that on purpose. And the reason is I want to reinforce these people's own sense of certainty and self-trust. Because the more you actually trust yourself and make statements, like, why are we grown ass women who are getting educated, kicking ass, having to ask questions? Really, is it this? Like, I want like all the men and women and young adults that go through our program to be starting to make statements and have confidence in self-trust and what they're saying, because this is how we then invite collaboration from the physicians and healthcare team that we work with.
It's true, and Dr. Maggie is not gonna be around all the time to hold our hand, much as we wish. So, we need to have that own confidence in our own knowledge and understanding of what is going on, not only with us, but of our loved ones around us.
So, what made you finally decide to join the program? Like, I'm always curious on people's origin story. Like, what was the turning point for you? What made you finally say yes?
Well, I really just think it was being involved in this process and seeing so many amazing results come about. Talking with these alumni, I mean, I got the inside scoop. I got a front row seat. I was able to chat with them
Mm.
personally and ask them anything I wanted to about their experience with the program. And these are real people. They're not making these stories up. They actually have gotten better. Their lives have changed. And I said, even though I may not be as sick as I once was, I still have a lot of issues that I'm dealing with. And who better to help me than you? I mean, you're somebody that I absolutely trust. So yeah,
You know,
I'm holding on tight.
and here's the thing, though, when we say that you have you have a diagnosis, just like I have a diagnosis, you have a diagnosis of undifferentiated mixed connective tissue disorder, right?
Mhm.
I have a diagnosis of Hashimoto's, but that doesn't mean that's where my symptoms are. There are symptoms everywhere. And this is a very important concept for people to understand, is that autoimmunity just doesn't, just because you have one test that diagnose one target of autoimmune attack, when your immune system's already mistaking that part of the body as a germ, the likelihood it's going to mistake many other body parts as a germ is 100%. So we are all a mixture of targets of autoimmune attack. We are not mystery, super special, rare cases. Every single autoimmune case actually have hundreds and not thousands of target of autoimmune attack, and they are all connected. And what is connecting it is that they're all autoimmune. It's a jacked up immune system that's making tons of mistakes and trying to kill you instead of killing germs. That is the underlying root trunk that we're dealing with. So if nobody really identifies what the hell's feeding this trunk of this tree, what are the roots that are doing it, what are you going to do? You're going to take a baseball bat to every apple on a tree as more and more grow? You're going to, like, that's the approach.
Well, it's true. I mean, like, I'm dealing with hair loss, for example,
Yeah.
and my doctor's sending me to a dermatologist, and I'm thinking to myself, is this the right place for me to be going? Because they're just going to try to, like you mentioned, maybe treat the symptoms here. And if they even can, and that's not going to address.
They're not going to treat the symptoms. They're going to pump you full of steroids.
Right. Why is your hair falling out? That's never been asked. It's just, well, what can we do to try to slow it down or something? No, why is it falling out? That's what I need to find out. And
you're going to know. That's the thing. I am 100% certain within the next, within the next 6 to 8 weeks, part of what you're going to be sharing on your vlog is going to be, I figured out what's causing my hair loss and know how to fix it.
Yes.
Like I know this is going to happen for you. Like, this is the level of certainty I have, because I've seen this happen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I see it happen every single day.
I know. And so, yes, I'm still at that point where I completely trust you, but for myself, I am still borrowing your certainty, and that feels good to have somebody to borrow it from as well.
Well, our audience here, those of you that are watching, is there something that Anne says that's really inspired you, or something that you identify with? I love to hear it in chat. Remember, we hate talking to you. I like to talk with you. Can you give us some feedback and some support? If something that Anne has said or I have said that's resonated with you, share it in the comment section. I'd love to get some feedback. Anybody who's an alumni who's currently in our program, has done our program, if you could share in the chat what autoimmune struggles you've overcome or you're overcoming, that'd be really cool. I'd love to see some comments. Nothing is worse than talking to dead air. I'm just letting you guys know, right?
We are
are they there?
A little bit of a different time today, and this was sort of impromptu, so we understand if people weren't here and ready and expecting this. Hopefully they'll get the replay if nothing else.
And the other thing too is we were planning a live later today on mast cell activation, and we have to postpone that for next week, and that's because I'm actually getting some urgent surgery tomorrow. So I was so I'm
ready to keep Dr. Maggie in your thoughts. We know it's going to go smoothly, but it's never fun to have to go to a surgery. But I asked her, hey, how are you feeling about tomorrow? And you're like, I'm feeling good. It's going to be great. So I can already tell them you got the right mindset, which is
sometimes it's necessary. Like, and one of the things that the American healthcare system is actually really good at is dealing with traumatic injuries.
Perfect.
Right? You get into a car accident, you break a bone, like, that's the best thing that the American healthcare system is made to deal with. Whereas, you got a chronic disease like Parkinson's,
not so much.
right? You got fibromyalgia. Not at all. The medical system is not made for that. So I had an acute injury that the medical system is going to be perfect to deal with. And I have a wonderful orthopedist who's going to be doing the surgery tomorrow, that I have complete trust and faith in. So a lot of people don't think, they're thinking me like functional medicine doctors. Somehow people think like I'm against medication or surgeries. No, sometimes you need them, but they should never be your first and only option. I think that's what people really have to understand. And I really, really have a high respect for my medical training and practice as a medical physician, so that I can actually have a hierarchy of options to teach people about. Like, I am not a one-trick pony. I'm a 1,000-trick pony, right? So like I tell people that a lot. People are just like, I have hair loss. What supplement should I take? I'm going, are you going to limit me to a one-trick pony? Or are you here in the program so you can learn the hundreds of reasons and then which ones specifically apply to you? So we actually nail it. How about that?
I love it. And I think that for some people, it makes them trust you that much more as well, because they're like, okay, she is a medical doctor as well. You have all of that training, but you have learned that there are more options and that there are alternative things that you can do to really address.
I take pride in that, Anne. I mean, this is with the utmost gratitude and like honestly honor for me to be able to interact with people in our program. I mean, and our alumni, and to be able to provide that guidance for people, like, for me, is the greatest honor of my life, because I wish I had that.
And someone's wishing you good luck with the surgery.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I wish I had that. Right. So it's like, so I actually have calculated how much I've spent in my own training, in lost income, right? And the figure is over $1 million in the last 16 years of my life. all the medical treatments that I've gone through, all the copays, all the out of pocket, all the medical training that I've done that's outside my medical training, all of this. And then there were 18 months where I was like disabled. I had to hire another physician to actually be my person working as my physical body. So it's been over $1 million in 16 years for me to actually learn all this, to be able to teach it. And I always tell people, do you want to take $1 million in 16 years to learn it? Or do you want to learn it over 2 months?
Exactly. Yeah, you've gone through the heartache and the cost,
right?
For others, so they don't have to. They can learn to think like you.
That's an honor for me. That is an honor for me. Actually, I take that responsibility really gravely. I feel a strong sense of responsibility to other people. Not only am I genuinely care, I am invested. I am invested in these people's outcomes. I do tell people I'm going to care just as much as you do.
No,
right?
You do. And I know that to be a fact because you remember their stories even years after they graduate. Like you and I will be talking about something and you'll say, oh yeah, well, there was Susan who graduated the program 2 years ago and she had that issue. And you know what? She was a nurse who did, and you remember all the details.
That happened with Amy last week. Do you remember we did the live and we were talking about MCAS, and I was talking about how I had somebody, Amy, who was an RN who had pot symptoms and a lot of allergy symptoms. And then Amy happened to be in chat.
You're there.
And she's like, 4 years later, and I'm still working. And I'm like, you're like, you probably thought for a second, like, did she just make that up?
No, it was
just such a coincidence. Amy was watching and was like,
you're like, wait a minute. I know, but you really do. And I think that some people going through the program are like, ooh, she's tough on us. She's coming at us with all these questions, but it's absolutely because you want everybody to get better. You want them to have results. And I think it's very evident that you're pushing others because you want to see them succeed.
Well, and here's the thing, like, it is very little responsibility to just be a doctor. I'll tell you this right now compared to what we're doing. Because if I am just a doctor, all of my responsibility is for the 15 to 30 minutes I'm seeing you as a patient, I just have to give you a prescription and you're out of my life. And whether you have a good outcome, bad outcome, it doesn't even matter because you know what? I did the right thing. I prescribed what I was supposed to. You're done. I go home. I sleep like a baby, right? I'm done, right? What we do in the program is the opposite of that, which is I tell people, my job, if I do it right, is to teach you a master's degree on how you can turn around autoimmune disease naturally for the rest of your life. So it really is, I am teaching a skill set. Mm-hmm. I'm not just, here's what to do, bye-bye. That's easy. That's a waitress taking an order. I can do that shit in my sleep, okay? And I did it for many years in my career. People don't realize that, and they think, oh, are we going to do one-on-one business? I'm like, do you know how easy, lack of responsibility, lack of investment, and there's no education involved whatsoever. I did that in my sleep for many years, and it was the saddest, most like ineffective, repugnant system of trying to help someone with chronic disease.
Well, it's obvious that it's not working either. I mean, look at how many people are coming to your program who have tried that for years.
Right. So for me, like, it really is the opposite. Like with this program was like, I'm going to teach you how to think like me.
Yeah, you do. Let's highlight some of the comments here. Irene said that she had so many issues revealed through the weeks in Transform. And she also was losing her hair and gaining weight and is really coming to get some answers as well. And she's also excited to see the vlog. So good. Thank you, Irene.
Oh my gosh. And Irene, like she's a recent alumni, just literally graduated a week ago. And a lot of people are like, what supplement should I take for hair loss? Why? I would love Irene. I'm quizzing Irene right now, and she's all the way in Norway. We work with people all over the globe, just so you guys know. We have tons of international clients working with us. I don't even advertise in other countries, but they're finding us, and that's the amazing thing. But Irene, I'm going to quiz you right now. Can you list off what are some of the causes you learned in the program that's the underlying root cause issue of your hair loss? Personalized medicine at its best.
I hope she's watching. She commented a few minutes ago, so hopefully she's still with us. And yeah,
come on, Norway, Viking woman, you're on.
Yeah, and other people. Bernice is excited, or how do we say her name? Berenice.
Berenice.
Excited for the vlog. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what you're going to do with the vlog. What are you going to do with this? What's your plan?
So just as kind of we're going through the program, anything that seems interesting, that I think that somebody that isn't in the program might want to know about, let's talk about it. So for example, I just got the test kits, right? For food mapping and for hormones. Well, let's look what's in these test kits. What do they look like? Have we ever seen them before? What do you have to do for them? So let's unbox the test kits.
There are no tests. You just levitate and I can feel your aura.
Exactly.
Let's put that behind the curtain. Here are your results. I see.
The crystal ball. So yeah, I mean, orientation, what's that like? What's it like being in pod? What are those mastermind calls really like? You mentioned, okay, we're not meeting with Dr. Maggie one-on-one. So do we actually get a chance to meet with her?
A lot.
Yes. That's a lot. And you get so much time. I mean, I was on that call with you the other night for 2 hours listening to you work through issues that people were trying to figure out, teaching. And it truly is, while you're listening to somebody else, as you mentioned, see one, do one, teach one.
Yeah.
I was just really taking it in and learning from what they were talking about, even though I wasn't even at the part where I knew anything about hormones yet. I was like, oh, okay, well, they seem to know these answers. So anyway, just kind of revealing, what is it like? What is it like to be in this program step by step? You're probably going to see a lot of posts from me in the main Facebook group. I'm talking about, and is that where we're going to put them? Are we going to put them in the main Facebook group? Or are we going to send them out in like an email blast? They're going to go in the Facebook group, right?
So here's the thing for our social media, just so you guys know, for those of you who are going to be watching, Anne's going to be recording her video diary and as she goes through the program, and we're just going to really just share them as she goes through the program. So you'll be seeing them in real time, like either the day of or live, just popping in all our social. So you'll be seeing this on Instagram, you'll be seeing this on YouTube, you'll be seeing this on Facebook. And I have asked Anne to be Anne.
Yeah, I know. I recorded a couple already. Just fair warning, the first few from the first, I wanted to do them as everything was happening this week, which is when I started. And maybe I'm a little stiff the first couple, so be easy on me.
I was saying that I think our audience, and I think for you, I want you not to be Anne the news anchor. I want you to be Anne the real person, like going through the program.
Right. Yeah.
And that's gonna be out of your comfort zone.
Way out of my comfort zone, because sometimes you worry, like, is the real me enough, right? am I enough?
More than enough. It's more than enough. People want, I think, honestly, when you give the real you to anybody, whether it's on social media or in person, that is the biggest gift that you can impart on another person. It's the real honesty of who you really are. That is a gift. That's a choice. You don't have to be real with anybody. But when you do, that is a gift and it's a choice and it's a blessing that you impart on another person. It's the authenticity of you.
Right. I know. And social media is so much about being unauthentic, right? Everybody's talking about the happy, great things that are going on in their life. But something I do love about the community with Transform is that goes out the window a lot, because people are very real, because they have to, because they're looking for help and they're looking for answers. And so there's no time to pretend my life is perfect, because that's just not the case.
Well, the other thing, Anne, is like, even, I don't know if that happened in last night's call, or it's frequently on a call where you could actually see where someone is stuck.
Yeah.
Mental, emotionally. And it has nothing to do with the medical information or the knowledge they're teaching, but there are internal obstacles that they have in their pattern of thinking. That is their own obstacle. And I love pointing that out. I really do. I consider myself with pride the best pattern interrupt there is. So I'll call it out and I'll be just like, boom, right there. I was like, I'm not going to go through what happened in the last, but like usually on a call, somebody will be stuck. But that's why they're still sick.
Right.
So I love the personal growth work and coaching that I've done, is that I'm able to like see someone who is making their own obstacles in their own head, whether it's their stories, their words, right?
Some of us are doing that. I mean, I know I do it. I'm a worst case scenarioer. Does anybody else do that?
That doesn't make you better prepared.
No, and
it handicaps you.
I know. And I really have to work on stopping to do that, because when you always expect the worst, well, sometimes then maybe you're just going to manifest that, is how it feels.
Yeah. Expecting the worst doesn't prepare you any better for what's to come. In fact, you actually rob yourself of your own presence in your own experience.
Yes. Oh,
Can you hear me?
I probably spent 2 years after learning about the autoimmune issues, thinking I was dying, like tomorrow. I was going to
Me
die
too.
tomorrow. I was going to leave my
Is
child with
today the
no
day I'm gonna die? Is today the day I'm gonna die? What the hell are
money.
you manifesting all day?
Right. And the anxiety that comes along with that. I mean, who can relate to that? How much anxiety have you had from your autoimmune issues? And some of it is, self created, but some of it is the autoimmunity probably also driving anxiety,
I mean,
right?
and you heard me in my own story about this, which is every day I used to wake up and be like, what else is gonna go wrong today? And I was also like, is today the day I'm gonna die? What's one more thing that's gonna help me die today, kind of thing. And the other thing is, it was almost like, am I even worth being on this planet? Like, why do I want to be a burden on other people?
That's
Right.
beautiful.
And what happens is that kind of story and that kind of self-talk eventually led me to my own suicide attempt.
Right.
So think about this, everybody. Like, this is why, I mean, Anne, nobody comes in this program thinking they need mindset work or that that's even important in the medical outcomes.
Mhm.
But it is the single most powerful driver of transformation in the program and people's long-term outcomes and the changes in their relationships and in their families and in their lives.
I
So
believe you. No, I believe you. And I know I personally need it. I'm so thankful. I hate to hear you relive your journey of what you went through.
I'm happy to do that. I'm proud. I
See,
went through it and I volunteer as tribute so you don't have to.
I see what you did there. You just did something that you talked to us about in our first mastermind call, and that's
Yeah,
replacing words. Instead of being like, it's terrible that I went through that, you replace that with, I'm proud I went through that.
I'm
And it
thrilled.
totally changes the storyline, both for you and for others, because yeah, you're able to reframe your viewpoint and say, I went through that for a reason.
Oh,
And
yeah. It has
now
to be worth something, right?
yeah, yeah. It's all mindset. And I can't wait to really dig in deep. I have my first pod meeting tonight. And so I know we do a lot of the mindset work
Yeah.
in the pod
I
meeting.
can't wait to see your vlog on that. And people are asking what surgery I'm getting. So, I literally tripped on a sidewalk and broke my midfoot. So this was about 10 days ago. But I just recently found out it was pretty shattered and I have to get some pins into my foot on Friday. But people were like, aren't you down? And I was in the middle of a medical conference. I'm lifelong learning, you guys. This is what I do. And but I was like, no, I was like, I'm actually really, it's the universe telling me I had to slow down. And I'm a big fan of this concept, which is if you don't listen to the universe, it speaks to you first in like whispers. If you don't listen, Oprah says this, then it's going to be little pebbles. If you don't listen, it's going to be a brick on your head. Right. And all that. And it's like, for me, I was like, oh, the universe was telling me to slow down. I didn't listen. Thank God I just broke my foot. I could have died. And, and the other thing was, even when it happened, I was like, wow, and I've shared this in the den with people in the program. When it happened, I was like, I'm actually thankful for the universe giving me a challenge to raise my own level of certainty in myself that I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. It's okay. It's fine. I can deal with this. Right.
So few people, I think, have that mindset right now that you are able to turn this into something positive. And it's so important, not just for autoimmunity, but for life.
I don't think it's positive. I think it's a choice.
Hmm.
This is not about being positive. This is about making choices to choose the words and the stories that serve you.
Yeah.
This is not being positive. We have choices.
And it could be even something so small. Since you started talking about that, I tried to apply it even to just everyday life. The other day, somebody cut me off and I got stopped at a red light when I was on my way rushing to try to pick up my son from school, right? And I had to sit there and think to myself, you know what? I'm thankful. Thank you. Maybe that just saved me from getting into a car accident down the road. You never know what could happen. But yeah, I mean, even you just inspired me by talking about your journey with that. And you can really apply it to so many aspects of your life and just choose to be thankful for something that might not seem like it's a great thing at the time.
Absolutely.
We're getting comments. Yeah, Jen, 100% can relate to that fear of dying. Dr. Maggie is changing that for me.
Jen, you're making the choice to change it for you. So I'm so proud of the people that are in our programs. And this is the kind of, I just got chills. All right, everyone. So this wraps it up. I wanted to really share with you guys what you guys are going to be seeing because on a very regular basis over the next 2 months, you're going to be seeing the video diaries of Anne's experience, blow by blow as she goes through the program, and not the not the newscaster Anne, but the real Anne, a participant going through the program. So you guys really will get to see what happens behind the curtains. Anne, any parting words for everybody?
Yeah, I'll do my best. Thank you for the support from everybody in the Transform community. And Dr. Maggie, just thank you for this opportunity and for creating this program, because I've witnessed you change so many other people's lives, but now I'm a part of it, and I know you're going to change mine as well.
I can't wait. Well, that's a wrap, everybody. Thank you.